music. It's all part of live music if I'm involved in it. And I think it might even get worse for the weekends out because we're moving into more sophisticated equipment, and that means more sophisticated mistakes, Paul. But sure, a bit of training, you never know. I'm delighted to welcome Charlie McGinley to the programme. And as I said to you just prior to the ad break, Charlie is the Community Engagement Officer with the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland. And it's an interesting project that we'd love you to have a listen to about. Charlie, first of all, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you, Jimmy, as well. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's lovely to have you up, and thanks for coming up. You went from sort of two different extremes. You were the deputy news editor of the Donegal News for a long time.
I was a deputy editor of the Donegal News. I spent almost over 30 years with the Donegal News, and I decided to step away from that position.
Okay.
And I suppose I was looking for a new change, a new challenge, and a new direction. And fortunately, this position arose with the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland. I think Alzheimer's is something that people can identify with. There's over 64,000 people in Ireland living with dementia. And I was contacted by the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland and asked would I be interested. And I work as part of a team. There's three of us in the team, in the community engagement team.
Okay.
There is a large number of staff right across Ireland, but there's three in the community engagement team. It's led by our National Community Engagement Manager, Catherine O'Leary, and we also have another member there, Isolde Kinsella, and she's based in Carlow. Catherine's based in Wexford. So three of us there, and we promote and raise awareness around the activities that the ASI has across the country.
Okay. Charlie, 64,000 people. It's a lot of people.
It is indeed.
And it's got the link then that it's a lot of families here you're talking about.
Yeah, just to give you some figures, I suppose before I joined the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland, I wasn't aware of these figures. There are 64,000 people living with dementia in Ireland, and it's estimated that by in the next 25 years, that will be over 150,000 people living with dementia. To give you a figure as well, there are 11,000 new cases of dementia in Ireland diagnosed each year. So that equates to 11 every day in this country. It's a progressive illness. There's no cure. So, and as I say, really, what we can do is do our best as an organisation and do our best as a society to support and help those people that are living with dementia.
Yeah. Charlie, the figures you said there, 64,000 and then increasing to 125,000, without going into too much detail on, the backbones of that, but why do you think that is? I'm curious genuinely here now, just why do you predict an increase like that? Is there something happening here that is out of control or something? Or?
It's not out of control as such, Paul. It's just the natural progression of the illness, and I suppose diagnosis is now early diagnosis is becoming better as well.
Okay.
And it really what it is basically it's harmful protein in your brain. Dementia is a broad term for a brain injury. It can affect your memory, it can affect your language, your speech.
Yeah.
And I suppose the diagnosis has got much better. People's awareness around it has become much better.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's where the figures, and we have a research and policy committee who look at this, and that's the figures that they projected now going forward for the next.
It obviously, the illness was about years ago, but we sort of just stigmatise people as saying, oh, they're doting or whatever else. Am I right in thinking that?
You're absolutely right, Paul. And in fact, I would have heard that term myself used. I use the term now. People living with dementia is a term that I use, but it would have been used in my own home as somebody elderly. It was doting.
That's right, exactly. Right.
But fortunately now, I suppose as awareness and supports roll out across the country. The ASI, for instance, Paul and Jimmy, we have 40 daycare centres across Ireland, opened at the minute. They provide therapeutic supports to people living with dementia. There's trained staff there to help them. And there's obviously then as well, we have daycare at home. We have home care as well. Like the ASI is the largest dementia-specific healthcare provider in the country. So we provide about 68% of the supports in the community across the country. We are a registered charity, but we're also a healthcare provider You know, so that's to give you some idea about what the ASI does.
I know, and that's great work, Charlie. And like charity-wise, what way, you know?
Well, I suppose like every charity, Paul, we rely on a lot of funding from local communities, and thankfully they do support the Alzheimer's Society very, 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 very well. There's government funding as well for the supports that we provide in the daycare centres and home care and home care at home. But we again rely on donations as well and fundraising, and that's done by a group of volunteers and friends of ASI across the country.
Yeah. Do you see this multimedia content that you're involved with? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, well, this is one of the projects that the community engagement team has been working on for some time. Basically what it is the Virtual Dementia Hub is a free online resource for people living with dementia. It's a hub whereby it's a digital space, in other words, which provides resources like music, poems, art, reading, games, lifestyle, activity packs. And I suppose for me, I thought of Highland and I thought of people involved in Highland because you're very close to musicians, and you promote musicians in a great way here, and you have done so for many, many, many years. And I thought it was an opportunity just to maybe put a call out there to musicians who may be interested and giving us or submitting some of their material. Fortunately, many artists across the country have already done so.
Yes.
The hub has won a national award. It won the Fujitsu National Award Tech for Good Community Award just back in November. There's a national award.
When does this particular project start? Well,
the actual Virtual Dementia Hub is really only ongoing since about July or August. Okay. So it's really in its infancy, I suppose, in many ways, but it's certainly made an impact. And talking to families and talking to people who have used the resource, it is a fantastic resource.
That's where you get your feedback, isn't it? Really,
that's exactly
the families and that. Do you know? Before we just go into that details, like I see sometimes you watch documentaries and you see people that. You know, maybe for one reason or another, because of dementia, they could have played the piano. And next thing they can play it, or they can sing along to stuff. You know, and music has a therapy in different ways, but it seems to work well with people with dementia. It seems to bring them back into somewhere where they remember fondly or whatever.
Yeah, it triggers the memory, Paul.
Yeah,
and I suppose people then who are living with dementia, a song that they maybe from their youth, or a song that they liked, it can engage them, and it brings them into that space again, and it can help them remember as well. It helps the cognitive therapy as well.
It's lovely to watch it.
It's fantastic to watch it.
Without sounding patronising or condescending, as I say, and it's done through video. And I do know. I don't think there's anybody who doesn't know somebody with dementia. You know what I mean? And you see the smile in their face or something, and it just stops you in your tracks and makes you grateful for what you have yourself.
It does.
How can our listeners get involved, or artists or whatever, Charlie?
Well, there's a number of ways you can do that. You can have a look at the Dementia Hub. It's www.virtualdementiahub.ie. And if any artist is out there who would like to submit any material, they can contact us at the community engagement at alzheimer.ie. Catherine O'Leary is our national manager, and Catherine looks after the content. And really what we need is content in MP3 or MP4 format.
Okay.
Because it's easier to upload to our system. Okay. And for that reason, that's what we ask,
Well, it's not. A lot of these musicians now can like some people send us. A lot of people send us music, and sometimes I say you wouldn't send me an MP3. And next thing there it is an MP3. I couldn't send you an MP3. I wouldn't know what you're talking about. Well, I do know what you're talking about. I don't know how to do it, but these people are really up to date with stuff like that. So any musicians or artists or poets or whatever, just
absolutely. We're always on the lookout for fresh content, songs, music, poems, reading, arts, word puzzles, whether anything that would help people, to engage people living with dementia, and also their families, this is obviously a resource that families as well can get some respite with as well, in terms of, you know, they can allow the person who's living with dementia to just engage in this activity for a period of time in a safe environment. And as I say, the figures are that there's over 180,000 people in Ireland who are currently or have been a carer for a family member living with dementia. So you can imagine, Paul, you know, in terms of, you know, the sort of benefits of a resource like this to families. And I've spoken to a number of families who use this, and they speak very, very highly of it, and recommend it very highly as well.
Well, listen, well done, Dees. But so the online digital space, what way does that work then? Is this all part of this process that you're talking about here?
Yeah, well, the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland got together with a charity partner, Fujitsu. It's a national partner, and we developed this hub. It's a free bespoke digital space. In other words, it's basically a website that you tap into, and you can see it there. But if you're providing content, you have to go behind that. In other words, that's contact the community engagement team, so that we can upload the content that you want to provide. That's essentially what it is. And as I say, from our point of view, it's a very effective resource, and it's one that we're keen to promote. And I know that Highland has done that for many, many years. And I'm sure, like Donegal and right across the country, there's a vast array of talent, and it doesn't have to be a famous musician. No. It doesn't have to be a famous poet. No. It can be an up-and-coming artist. I just listened to one coming up the road there, young fella Matthew Mallory coming up the road there, Paul, you know. Yeah. You know, and we just want a variety of content that will help people to help themselves.
Well, if we can help in our small way, we will mention it. And if anybody listening and thinks they can contribute to this, it would be greatly appreciated. You can contact them once again on www.virtualdementiahub.ie, and you'll get all the information there you want. Charlie, it's a very interesting subject. It's a very common subject now, and I'm sort of taken aback by the figures that you give us there. Unbelievable, but...
Yeah, just in Donegal alone, Paul, I didn't mention that. Actually, in Donegal alone, the ASI here, there's 2,500 people. There's actually 2,451 people currently living with dementia in Donegal. Okay. And at the ASI here, we have an office in Ballybofey. We have 2 daycare centres and a home care centre as well. We have our daycare centres in Glenties and Gweedore, and we have a daycare centre in daycare at home facility in Clohan. And we have also got our dementia advisors in the community as well, John Thompson and Mina McGill, who are there to help families, you know, if somebody, you know, just to help with that early diagnosis, help provide support and help to families who have a loved one who's living with dementia.
Well, we wish you well. As I say, we anything we can do here at all. And do you know this? If there's any artists listening, and you know, you could do a lot of good. You know, you'd be probably surprised at what you can achieve by doing this. And once again, virtualdementiahub.ie, and I'd love to hear from you. Do you acknowledge the people then that?
Absolutely, we credit all the musicians, artists, poets who submit material. We credit them all. And so far, you know, just this week, with I can't actually give a name, but a very, very high-profile, renowned international singer has agreed to give us her work as well. And that's today amazing. As well, there was another local one as well, who I can't just give his name, but he's well known here in Highland Radio, and he's kindly agreed as well to give his material as well to us as well.
Well done.
So that's well very heartening, you know. But again, it's not all about the international renowned. This is again an appeal to just up and coming musicians or current musicians that are there that would like who maybe have a friend or a family member who's living with Alzheimer's or not, who just feel that they would like to help a charity organisation. And this is a good way to do it. Absolutely. And it's a very effective way to do it, and I'm sure they will get a great benefit from it.
It's a great idea, Charlie, and we wish you well with it. And you know, like when this progress goes on, as it progresses through time, feel free to come back to us or recommend some artists to send you stuff in, because we're more than delighted to highlight it here and bring them up or whatever. You know, if they want a platform here as well, the door's open. So any artist, music, song, and poetry or whatever, just get in touch with virtualdementiahub.ie. And you know this, like you probably don't realise how much benefit people will get from your actual work, you know. So
Yeah, no, I just want to, on behalf of the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland, I'd like to thank yourself, Paul, and Jimmy, and everybody here in Highland for giving us the opportunity just to promote this this resource, and just to wish all your listeners and your staff and management and all the diaspora around Ireland and abroad who tune into Highland regularly. Almost on a daily basis, a very happy new year, and just to, as I say, if you're somebody who's willing to help a charity, then we just maybe think about the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland as well.
Absolutely. And as I say, Charlie McGinley here, the Community Engagement Officer with Alzheimer's Society of Ireland. Are you on Facebook, Charlie, or anything, if people just want to
the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland have a range of social media channels. We're on, I think we're on them all, Paul. Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn are the main ones that we use. Twitter as well actually is one of our key platforms as well. But we're on all the social media channels. We have a dedicated communications team in Dublin who look after all that material for us.
That's good. You see, you have to be on top of them. I always say to any artist coming up here, Charlie, you know, don't be, you know, no, I'm not on this. I'm not. Cheekers, it's there and it's free. You know, take full advantage of it.
And it's growing every day. There's a new one coming out every day, Paul. You know, and that's just the way that the whole technology game has gone. I suppose, just from my background, I can remember the days when I actually came in with a manual typewriter. You know, a manual typewriter now, Paul, is a thing of the past. You know,
I think Tom Hanks is the only one that has them. He seems to collect them,
and I suppose that's not that long ago altogether.
No,
you know,
I know that.
And you can just see how technology, and even I can see here in Highland how, you know, the whole technology, the setup here in Highland as well has progressed as well over the years as well.
Yeah,
and that's
you'll be left alone, Charlie, if you don't move with it. You know,
exactly. Well, you have to embrace it. You know, as part of society now.
Less stressed with this job, Charlie, or is it?
I'm enjoying it.
You're enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it, Paul. I'm enjoying it. You know, it's a new role for me. I suppose in the early days there was that bit of anxiety around it in the sense that I didn't know a lot about the organisation. But fortunately, I have a very good team. I have an excellent manager in Catherine O'Leary, who's very, very helpful. And Izzy Kinsella as well and her team, and they've helped me to settle in, and they've helped me to relax in the role, and I'm really enjoying it. And as I say, we have a number of different projects that we work on. We also have a dementia inclusive generation program, which is actually working in schools. That's a national program as well. So that's educating young people.
Exactly, which is very important.
Get them young.
Very, very important.
Get them young, Paul.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and that's so we have now over 50 schools across the country now who are working that program, and we're now in the stages as well of rolling out a sporting memories program as well, which is a reminiscence program with sports organisations.
It's great the work you're doing, Charlie, and we wish you well and continued success with it. And you know what? Let's say keep in touch with us here because we would love to see how you're progressing. And to say if there's anything we can do, the door's open here at the Monday night session. But once again, Charlie McGinley, the Community Engagement Officer with Alzheimer's Society of Ireland. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure, Paul. Thank you,
Charlie.
Yourself and Jimmy.